I got a phone call the day, in April 2013, the day that the Fremantle game was on, when there was a whole lot of press about, I think Andrew Demetrio came out and said it would be a good idea if James Hird stood down. I got a phone call on a Friday afternoon asking whether I might be interested in acting for James. I then spoke to Tanya Hird. I then spoke to James and Tanya the following evening, the Saturday, after the Fremantle game. And I got briefed to act on his behalf on the Sunday. And the interview with ASADA that took place with James was on the Tuesday. So there was very little time between being retained and getting prepared for that particular hearing in front of ASADA, which was not just a hearing in front of ASADA, it was part of this joint investigation, so-called, between ASADA and the AFL. That created its own difficulties. The ASADA legislation is pretty difficult to follow and comprehend, and it's sort of associated with the NAD scheme and interlocked with AFL rules and what have you. And there was an AFL contract as well. And that the atmosphere around being involved at that time was that James was going to attend and comply and cooperate in terms of doing the interview with ASADA. If we'd have had a bit more time to actually contemplate the ASADA legislation, we quickly came to the conclusion at some point down the track that we thought there were issues about the lawfulness of the joint investigation. In other words, whether ASADA, in conducting a joint investigation with the AFL, was acting what would be described as ultra vires. And also, down the track, whilst the AFL contracts, which have now been adopted by a lot of other Olympic sports following the federal court decisions involving the Essendon Football Club and James Hird and ASADA, compel someone to attend who's a party to that contract and answer questions. We subsequently found some New South Wales Court of Appeal authority that suggested that even though the contracts provided for people who were parties to them to answer questions, that didn't necessarily abrogate the privilege against self-incrimination. But in real time, we went along, cooperated, tried to reserve our rights to say that we thought there might be issues about the investigation. But it all happened in a great hurry. So 2 days between getting briefed and having a full day of questioning in front of ASADA and the AFL.